Hello and welcome to something a little bit different. You can see
Something
his faces.
new.
It's great. You can see his faces. We're in your eyes as well as your ears for the first time ever. A couple of punts video podcast. We said this from the start that we'd potentially do this, and it's taken us 9 months. That's not bad.
It has. It's taken us lockdown and Joe Rogan up in his game. So we thought, you know what? That's the target. We'll start stepping it up. We'll build there slowly.
Yeah, video's gone on Spotify. I mean, it's the next step. It's the next logical step from this. I mean, episode 1 on here, episode 2.
Yeah.
Get out on there. As you can see, thanks for joining us on YouTube, a new home for us, I suppose. Thank you very much. And I never thought I'd say this ever, but if you do enjoy what we're about to do in the next half hour, you have noticed it's a little bit shorter than usual, so it's a little bit more palatable, I suppose.
Well, we say it's going to be shorter. With us, this will probably still go 2 hours, and
we'll try and condense it.
We're going to try, but who knows what's going to happen.
You've got to stay on the tab, haven't you, for this? You know what I mean? It's a bit Spotify. You can bash it off on the phone. It's not as good. But yeah, we've got to actually keep their attention for half hour here. So let's keep it on the track. But yeah, if you do enjoy what we're doing, obviously this is the pilot episode. Things might go wrong, might not be amazing, but we are learning. So should have smashed that like button, Harry.
Yes. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Oh, we're going to need to develop our own kind of our brand, our kind of wording for that.
Everyone does the same. It's fine.
Smash the like button, yeah.
Just smash the like button, smash it to bits. And yeah, since this is the first ever episode or video on this channel, this might be a YouTube comment section that actually isn't toxic. So, get down there, say something.
Yeah.
You're not going to agree with everything we say in this episode, 100%. So let's have a chat about it. Look forward to it. So let's get to it without further ado. As you can see by the title of this video, what we're going to do is way too soon because it's June and we don't even know if the season's going to start in September, realistically.
So many factors that are going to change what we're going to say between now and when we actually give our full kind of pre-season predictions. That will be 100% accurate. These will be pretty close. These will be like 99, but...
Yeah, like nearly. I think we're almost certain we're going to get it in. But like anything in the NFL, it goes all year round. Obviously, it is far too early, but we're going to do it anyway because it's fun, frankly. And also, we can laugh at each other in years to come. At the very first episode, when we just go, "Thought the Chargers would do what?" It's things like that.
Yep.
So what we're going to do, we're going to try and predict the 2020/21 season as accurate as we can. We're going to go through every single division and each give our pick for who's going to win that division. We're going to give the MVP award out. We're going to give an award which isn't strictly a real award, but for breakout player of the year, a player we think is just going to get to the next stratosphere in 2020. We're going to give our final 4, so the AFC and the NFC conference matchups, and finally the Super Bowl matchup and the eventual world champion. So let's kick it off with the AFC. I think we'll start with the AFC. I'm going to do this because on many of our podcasts, and if you are joining us from our podcast, we've done 40 plus podcasts on Spotify. That's links down below as well if you want to catch us there. You'll know we are big Colts fans. You might have noticed a little bit. We do tend to leave the AFC South till last on most things we do, just for I don't know. Just for
you realise not all of you are Colts fans.
Yeah. Why? But you know. But we're going to do it first this time. We're not going to leave the AFC South to the last. We're going to get it out of the way straight away. So I'm going to throw it to you straight away. The AFC South in 2020. Who's going to take it and why?
I have got the Colts.
I'm not shocked.
We were a very good football team last year, apart from one position, which was, 2 positions. As much as it pains me to say, Adam Vinatieri did lose his games, as did Jacoby Brissett. They were 2 of the most important positions on the field, and that's where we lacked last year. Our new kicker is the McLaughlin guy from the 49ers.
Chase McLaughlin.
Chase McLaughlin, that's his name. So that's hope. I mean, at this stage, it is an improvement on Vinatieri. Again, as hard as that is to say and to hear, he just is. And Phillip Rivers, whatever stage he's in, at least he's going to try and win games. Jacoby Brissett is a little bit more of kind of the game manager, keeping it safe, and we didn't win games last year because of Jacoby Brissett. We won games because of everyone else on the field, because we have, as a roster, it's incredibly balanced all over the field. So hopefully Philip Rivers we will probably lose. He will throw picks, and we will potentially lose a game or two because of him. But if we win 3 or 4 because of him, then and in our weakened division now, I think the Titans will take a little step back. There's no Hopkins in Houston, and the Jaguars are the Jaguars. It's primed for us with Philip Rivers, with my boy, who is hat I'm not wearing right now, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
A really good draft. Colts are taking the AFC South.
Yeah, I mean, not shockingly, I also got for the Colts. I think you make a good point about our improvements, and clearly we have improved, especially at QB. But I think more to the point, I think it's the rest of the division that haven't really. I mean, the Jags have to an extent with the amount of draft picks they had. Obviously, they picked up quite a few first rounders. But do they want to win this year? That's the other argument. Do they want Lawrence next year? Probably. They probably want a tank, if we're honest. We've spoken about that on the podcast many times. They're probably in the tank this year, so they're not going to be interested about winning the division, realistically. The Texans lost their best player. It's as simple as that. I mean, second best if you want to say JJ Watt, but certainly on offense, it's their major weapon. I mean, they replaced him, but they didn't really replace him. They replaced him with a couple of wide receiver twos, not a wide receiver one, in my opinion. You can't lose a player like Hopkins and be as good offensively. It's just not going to happen, as good as Deshaun Watson is. And as for the Titans, bit of an unknown commodity. They could come out firing under Vrabel and do the same again. It's possible, or even better, possible. You just have that little feeling that they won't. I don't know what it is. I think you probably feel the same. It's just not going to quite reach them levels this year for the Titans.
No, I think the Titans, I'm not saying it's kind of they're a flash in the pan, but I think they didn't win the division last year. And I don't think they've particularly got better. They did finish second to the Texans. I think they were 9-7, and the Texans finished 10-6. So yeah. I don't think they're going to. They could finish 9-7 again, and there probably will be another wildcard team. But they haven't got that extra step to go and win 10 games, go and win 11 games, and really make a challenge to the AFC South.
Yeah, agreed. So okay, we've both got the Colts down for the AFC South. All right, let's look north now. The AFC North. This might be the easiest in the entire bunch, maybe.
It's one of two. I'm
assuming you're going to go with the Ravens.
It was going to be a much more competitive division this year. However, I've still got the Ravens.
I think, I think the division has improved on last year, no doubt. I mean, you've got the number 1 draft pick in there for one thing, in Cincinnati. Cleveland have to be better with the additions they've made, 100%, especially on the offense. The offense does look scary, but it's still Baker Mayfield, and he's almost in a bit of a prove it year, dare I say.
Make or break for him, really.
Yeah. And the Steelers are getting Big Ben back. That's obviously a huge deal, and they actually had a good season, let's be honest, bear in mind what they had at QB. But I just think the Ravens were so strong last year. I think it would take a hell of a lot to knock them off the perch in that division.
And they've gone from strength to strength. Again, through the offseason, they've picked up some absolute studs on defense, and you just wonder where the cap room is. Obviously, they haven't paid Lamar Jackson yet, so they are really in a win-now mode until they have to pay him, because that's probably going to be record-setting numbers when he comes up in 3 years' time. So they've got that. They drafted well. They got the running back was it J.K. Dobbins? Did they take Dobbins, or was it?
I think so.
They got Dobbins again, who is another weapon to slot in that backfield that's still got Mark Ingram, and it's still got RG3 for the Heisman set. So, and Hollywood Brown's going to come on here as well.
Yeah.
And again, if we see the leap that Lamar Jackson took from year 1 to year 2, if he now carries on and increases even half of as well as what he did between years 1 and 2 to 2 and 3, this is a scary football team.
Yeah. I think you'd like to say Cleveland will be up there and giving them a real challenge.
I think the real challenge will be Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I think Cincinnati, you can say, if they can get 6-7 wins, that's a huge year. That's a huge year.
If they double their wins and get 4, that's a success.
Yeah. Ultimately, you just want to get Joe Burrow through a season uninjured, make some touchdown passes, boost his confidence, get him used to it. Simple as that. But they're certainly not going to be a contender. Like I said, the Browns, with the additions they've made, they should be up there. But there's always just a little bit of you won't put your house on it. Put it that way. As for the Steelers, like I said, they're going to come on under Big Ben, and it's almost a bit of a last hurrah. It might not be his last year. He might have a couple of years left, but doesn't have a whole lot left. Let's be honest. And still a lot of talent in that team. A lot of talent. It's going to be a little bit closer, probably, but I still think the Ravens, Madden curse aside, will take that division by a couple of wins, I reckon. All right, let's move on to. We'll do the East first or the West? I'll throw it to you.
We'll go West because, again, I think it's a division that there's an obvious team, and I've chosen the obvious Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I think I lied about the last one, saying that was the easiest choice. This is the easiest choice, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, they've got the reigning Super Bowl MVP. They're the reigning Super Bowl champions. They managed to keep almost everyone, apart from the corner, one of the Fuller brothers. But again, they just went, you know what, we're going to get more offense and drafted Saint Hilaire in the first round. So they're going to be there. They're probably going to be there again. Little spoiler, but they're going to be good again.
Yeah, wasn't it they retained 20 of their 22 starters, I think it was?
Yeah, I think they did lose the linebacker and Fuller. They managed to keep, to keep Chris Jones via the franchise tag, who was an absolute, if you look back, I watched a couple of people go through the game tape of that, the Super Bowl game, and you go through the Super Bowl. He doesn't have many stats in that game, but he was disrupting. He was constantly in the backfield and disrupting both the run and the pass. Yeah,
absolutely. Looking to the rest of that West, it's a better division than it was last year, definitely. I think the Raiders will be improved. It's through the draft, really. I think through the draft, certainly the Raiders and the Broncos did some real damage, certainly on offense. Both of them receiver calls look quite tasty now, to be honest.
They're really good.
They realistically have kind of receiver calls on par with the Chiefs, really. I think you can argue that, certainly. I think both of them do now. I suppose the Broncos don't have that standout Tyreek Hill, but Courtland Sutton's a very good receiver, and the talent alongside him now through the draft it's very, very good. But Drew Lock isn't Patrick Mahomes. So there's always that caveat. In terms of the Chargers, I mean, they're going to go in with Herbert, obviously. So I think it's a very similar situation to what Burrow was going to be like in Cincinnati, though, for me. I think they're going to be a better team than the Bengals were. But still, I think if they can pick up 6-7 wins and just consolidate for a year, I think the Chargers would be pretty happy with that, wouldn't they?
Yeah. I mean, potentially from the Chargers, I don't know if it will be Tyrod Taylor or Justin Herbert, but you kind of...
It could be Taylor, yeah.
Again, you don't want them in too many games because you want like another kind of lowish kind of pick to then reset and really try to challenge in the next couple of years. You don't want to have a kind of middling season and get a couple of middling picks. You kind of want to go through almost a 2-year reset. Yeah. But they've got the players. They've still got Keenan Allen. They've got Derwin James on defense. They've got both. They've got Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. They're going to be a good team. I just don't. I think everyone else has kind of rushed in front of them. Yeah. So they're not going to be bad, but they're going to be the worst in what is potentially the most exciting division in football next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, we've agreed for 3 of them. For the first 3, so that's boring. So let's, I reckon, mix it up a little bit now. AFC East. Now, I want to know what you're going to say first. Just a spoiler, we have not seen each other's picks before this. I have no idea what you're about to say. And you've no idea what I'm about to say, so this could be interesting.
We don't, and it's kind of been a bit safe so far. And unfortunately, I've kind of gone safe again because I've gone for the Buffalo Bills. They were 10-6.
I thought you were going to say something.
No.
I thought you were going to say something else then.
No.
Whoa.
No. I kind of did build it up a bit there to just like pull the rug from you. But they were 10-6 last year. Josh Allen is growing year by year. They've now got Stephon Diggs, so they've got a legitimate deep threat who will hopefully be able to catch some of Josh Allen's overthrown balls. Because if they can, it's the one area of Josh Allen's game which is a glaring kind of flaw. If Stephon Diggs, I've just got his name for a mini second there. If Stephon Diggs can get under some of those balls, then they are a scary team. and they've quietly got one of the best kind of coaching staffs in the NFL with Brian McDermott. So yeah, obviously the Patriots, I think they're going to be worse than what a lot of people think they're going to be. I think they're going to take a major step back, and there's no one else going to fill the void because everyone else is maybe 2 or 3 years away.
I just with the Bills, I like the Bills. I think they're a good team. I think they proved that last year. I just get a bit of what we said about the Titans about them. It might just be more of a historic thing. I think it's probably a little bit biased.
Historically, they are poor. Well, they're not poor. They just have a ceiling. Yeah,
massively. And as much as I like Josh Allen, he's got a pretty low ceiling. Let's be honest, he does. I don't think it's going to be the Patriots. I'm not going to say that. I think Jarrett Stidham's going to go in there and he's going to do... Honestly, I don't know what he's going to do. That's the thing. No one really does. I think no one besides Bill Belichick even knows he can throw the ball, to be honest.
It's Belichick and Chris Sims, isn't it? Chris Sims is really banging his drum at the moment.
Yeah, our competitor. Now we've hit the old video podcast game. We're coming through, Chris.
Mike Florio.
PFT's got nothing on us.
No, they're not drinking while they're doing this. Very unprofessional, but...
Oh, money on the water. Terrible.
I should really do my product placement because I own shares. I can't drink it. I can't drink it. Can't drink it from this side, really. But try, Jesus. Right, back to football.
AFC East. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of the Titans about Buffalo, and I do think there's going to be a bit of a drop off. And I just think I look at the AFC East and I just go, that is more competitive this year than I think people give it credit for. I really think it is. And I think it's going to be one of those divisions where they're all going to take wins off each other.
Yeah.
So I can really see this being a division that's kind of won by a team with kind of maybe 8 wins. I think it's one of them. It could be similar to the NFC East last year. I think the Patriots are going to be knocking around the kind of 6-7 win mark still, at least. That's probably been quite conservative with that. The Bills, the same. Maybe a little bit higher. I think this could be a year Sam Darnold really comes on, you know.
I'm not going to argue with you there.
You're a big Sam Darnold fan, we know this, and I'm going to make you happier. I think the Jets might sneak it. I know it's a big call. It's a big call. They're going to have to come on a hell of a way, but I think they had a decent draft. I think Sam Darnold is, of that crop of QBs that came out that year, he's right up there for me. I think he did. I think he's not actually my breakout player for later on, just saying. But I think he is due a breakout year himself, really, to really come on and show what he's about. And he's kind of approaching his contract year. That's not a million miles away now. He's really got a crack on, and he's got a receiver now as well. I'm going to go with the Jets. I'm going to go with the Jets to win the AFC East this year.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. The Jets are very much of an unknown quantity because they did have a good draft. If their draft picks hit, as well as Quinnen Williams becoming the player that we thought he was going to be last year, he flattered to deceive last year. But if he comes on this year with all the other draft picks, that is a real team. Yeah. And that I don't see them being as good as they probably should be because it's the Jets, and we're not the biggest fans of Brian Flores. Not Brian Flores. Is it Brian Flores? No, it is Brian Flores, isn't it? No, what's his name? Brian Flores is in Miami. The Adam Gase, who was replaced by Brian Flores. Yeah, we're not the biggest fans of Adam Gase. Pretty limited as a head coach. So I don't think he can get the best out of those players. If by some sheer miracle he does, I can absolutely see him taking the division. I just think...
I will say the one caveat for this, before we get into the NFC. If they're going to do it, they need to get some real value out of Jamal Adams. Either they're going to get him on the field, he's going to play, or they get a player trade. So it's a bit of a theoretical one, because it'll likely be a draft pick, but I think if they can get a real player of need, and let's be honest, I mean, you realistically could do a straight swap with pretty much anyone because Jamal Adams is that good. They could fill an area of needs, make it even better. I'm going to go with the Jets. But I don't think with many wins. I think it might be like 8 wins. Like all right, NFC, let's crack on. We'll kick off with the NFC South. I'll start with this one. Because I think I know what you might do, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Saints. What are you going to say?
The Saints.
Oh, okay. I did wonder if you go for I did wonder whether you go Tampa Bay, because that's the thing.
can't go.
I think Tampa Bay. It's going to be like the sexy pick this year, isn't it? It's going to be like Cleveland when they signed all the players. It's going to be that. Tom Brady at 42, 43. You know, I mean, he's going to have all the help he could possibly need. And Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and Gronk, obviously. And the defense isn't bad either, if we're honest. But I just think that Saints team's just going to be too good for him.
The Saints team goes from strength to strength.
Yeah.
And as much as that, like, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are probably the most interesting team in the NFL. But there's so many question marks about it. This is the first year that Brady's had to learn a new system. Not saying Tom Brady's a system quarterback. However, he's gone his entire career in one system. That system up in New England is very different to a Bruce Arians system, which is those deep passes. And the Tampa Bay offensive line is good. It's not great. Tom Brady's going to have to stick around in that pocket, and he was never mobile. He's the opposite of mobile nowadays. He's static. He is a statue. I'll caveat that with saying he's very athletic for a 42-year-old quarterback. Incredibly athletic. However, he's still going to have to stand there a lot. And if he takes a couple of hits and the worst should happen, I don't really see them being the explosive power that everyone thinks they are. And like I said, the Saints are very good. I think they've managed to ride the wave of Drew Brees' recent comments, and Drew Brees has responded in the right way after saying something completely kind of boneheaded and so out of touch. And it threatened maybe a couple of weeks ago to look like the Saints were going to implode. They haven't, and I think it might be one of those scenarios where the team kind of rallies around it, because everyone's going to be saying, like, well, the Saints are a divided locker room now, where they kind of rally around. And even though he was kind of public enemy number one, to rally and get Drew Brees' kind of last hurrah before he goes into broadcasting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. I think the Saints, you get the Panthers in there with Teddy Bridgewater, but I think there's still a lot of work to be done there. I think maybe in a couple of years' time, potentially, obviously with McCaffrey there, there's potential, but there's a lot more work needed. As for the other team in the division, the Falcons, they just underperformed last year, didn't they? They really underperformed. And they could get back to a good level. They could, but I still think even that Falcons team at their best isn't going to beat the Saints team at their best for me. So, I think the Saints take the South. All right, the NFC North. I'm guessing you're not going to say the Chicago Bears.
How did you guess?
Even with Nick Foles there now as well.
Even with Nick Foles there. Even with Nick Foles. I haven't picked the Chicago Bears.
Who are you going for?
Have picked the
Lions.
Hey, they're under new, as of about 2 hours ago, they are under new
ownership, yeah.
Well, it's just
it's the same.
The new owner's daughter. It's the old owner's daughter, sorry, but they've gone from a 94-year-old to I think like a 60-ish-year-old. So getting younger.
A rich white person gave it to another rich white person in the same family.
Yeah. I did not know this. They are obviously they're the Fords, but their name is like Ford Firestone. So they also have the Firestone. They've got, they make the cars, they get the tires, they get the cars and the tires. All they need is to take over like Shell now, and they've got everything in the car. That's going to be arranged.
They've got shares in oil. They've definitely got shares in oil.
An arranged marriage in the future to just really tie it all together. But yeah, I've not gone with I've not gone with the Chicago Bears or the Detroit Lions or the previous winners of the Green Bay Packers. I've gone for the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, so have
I. We're just so in sync right now.
Clearly. I think obviously the Packers, the Packers are such a weird team last year because I think you almost want to put the Packers in the same categories that we just said about the Falcons, about them being underperformed, because they didn't do anything for you, did they really?
They're like the Packers, the worst 13-3 team we've potentially ever seen.
They got to the NFC Championship game.
That's mental.
They're in the Final Four.
They had a better record than like the Ravens. They had the same record as the Chiefs. Yep. No, they had a better record than the Chiefs. Chiefs went 12-4. The Packers went 13-3.
I know.
But
no, it's
weird. Everything they just were really lucky with. Like, they had no injuries. They won tight games. I think they won most of their one possession games, which you won't be able to replicate again. And they got a couple of questionable calls, especially from the Lions in that Detroit game with the refs and the hands to the face. Awful. And the
and I guess with the Packers as well, I almost see like they get like almost a 1 or 2 game head start with the weather conditions as well.
Yeah,
it's always a tough one. Like I remember the Carolina game was played in horrible conditions, and they kind of got a few interesting calls in that one as well. But obviously, I think they get a bit of a handicap. I think. But yeah, I'm also going to go with Vikings for the NFC North. I think they almost just seemed like the best team in that division last year, didn't they? For those reasons, and I think talent-wise, they still are, despite losing Stephon Diggs. For me, I think all round, I've got a lot of love for the Vikings and what Kirk Cousins managed to do last year. I think he managed to get rid of a few demons, I think, last year, didn't he?
Rallied after week 4.
Yeah, I would say it was almost a car crash. It was almost a complete car crash from the start, and they managed for them to recover like they did was amazing. So I'm going to go with the Vikings. I think the Lions will be a lot better, obviously, with Matt Stafford's back. That's the big caveat there. That's going to be an interesting one. And the Bears, you just don't really know what's going to happen with the QB situation. So that's just that's a battle between themselves, really, more than
it is, and
the rest of the division.
It could be incredibly awful because they might both be awful. Because we've seen Foles at his very best, and we've also seen him at his when he was back fit and healthy. Granted, when he was obviously when he's back in Jacksonville, he hadn't had obviously the game time, but he didn't. I think they did put Minshew back in again for the second time round after Nick Foles lost his starting spot. So we could see an absolute dumpster fire in Chicago. And I actually think maybe losing Stephon Diggs makes the Vikings a better team because they are now more of a team. And, we haven't seen him have an NFL snap yet, but Justin Jefferson was incredible in college. So,
and I think if any team could, Jefferson or not, really, I think if any team could kind of survive and justify getting rid of a wide receiver 1, it's a team with Adam Thielen. Yeah, because he kind of fits that role straight away. Yeah. So, I think they're in a good spot. Last point in the NFC North for me is obviously the Chicago in obviously a bit of a tiz QB wise. Packers might be. Things are not so rosy in Wisconsin right now.
You don't draft a quarterback in the first round if he's not the future. And they keep saying it's 2 or 3 years away, 3 or 4 years away. Aaron Rodgers could easily just go, I'm not going to say he's going to throw games, but he's like, am I really going to dive head first for that first down, knowing that you drafted my replacement? Am I really going to, put my body on the line when it needs to be? Because he has done, because we've seen him roll out the pocket and make incredible throws outside the pocket, risking his own kind of life when those like dogs of linebackers are charging at him. He might just go. There's a guy who's already quite happy to throw the ball away when he's not particularly happy with what he's seen down the field with his receivers. He leads the league in throwaways for probably the entire NFL. He probably leads the league, like the entire history of it. And they didn't improve at receiver.
That's the big thing.
It was their one weakness.
So they gave him no help.
Aaron Rodgers isn't going to actively look to lose games, but when am I going to try and put my body on the line? Probably not, and I don't really blame him.
No, not at all. So we both say the Vikings win the North. All right, the NFC East now. Much like last year, probably going to be quite tough at the top. I think it's going to be pretty tight. Which way do you swing in terms of the NFC East?
Which way do I swing, Ross? Hello.
On YouTube now.
Oh yeah, guidelines. Can't say certain words. Oh, we've alcohol again. So
let's not get demonetized.
We've got demonetized already because there's alcohol use. How about that? Yeah. How about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? Again, kind of much for the same reason. Yeah. Kind of almost the similar reasons that when I'm not picking the current winners with the Philadelphia Eagles as they're not picking the Green Bay Packers. The draft was just mystifying. Literally Carson Wentz was thrown into literal deck chairs and, XFL players, CFL players, and he still managed to get him there. So he could do it again, but the talent's just not around him. Whereas the Cowboys, apart from Byron Jones, managed to keep everyone. And they got, again, names escape me. Not Jerry Jeudy, not Henry Ruggs, the other one.
CD Lamb.
CD Lamb.
Yeah. I think off-season wise, the Cowboys hit an absolute home run. And they've kind of just topped it off today. We're not going to talk about it, but we will go more in depth on the news around the league in our usual weekly podcasts, which are going to continue. These are bonus episodes. They are going to continue over on Spotify, so check us out over there. But obviously, Dak Prescott has signed his franchise tag now. I think now that's finished. Now that's kind of over with, and they don't have to deal with that for a little while. Absolutely a perfect off-season for the Cowboys, which is not something you can say very often.
Nope.
So yeah, I think the Cowboys are going to win the East. Absolutely. Like I said, the Eagles just haven't done what they should have done, essentially, unless they're just going to play wildcat with Jalen Hurts for a lot. I don't really know what the plan is. Redskins are going to get better, but obviously they were the second worst team in the league last year. They're only going to be so good. Obviously they've got Chase Young to kind of fit into that team. We'll just see. I think they'll be fun to watch, but not much more. And the Giants, similar kind of thing. I think they're going to improve, but they're certainly not going to be a contender this year. So I do agree. I think the Cowboys are going to take the East and have maybe a playoff run. Maybe a playoff run this year, finally.
I think the Giants and the Redskins, again, kind of like what I said with the Dolphins and the Jets, maybe 2-3 kind of 4 years' time, they've got slower kind of steady trajectories. They are improving teams. They've got good kind of pieces, but I think obviously Dwayne Haskins and Daniel Jones, they're not like Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. They've not popped immediately. They're going to be slow and steady kind of. They're probably going to improve in year by year by year. But they might finish off class, but they're going through the motions right now, so it's more of a slow kind of build.
Yeah,
and they've both got new head coaches. And one thing we haven't touched on yet, always takes time. Now that this off season has just been nuked by COVID, it's going to take even more time for those new QB head coach combinations, those new head coach team combinations. It's all going to be delayed even more. And I think that kind of shows in our picks. A lot of the time, we're going for these settled partnerships, especially in a volatile time.
Yeah. All right. So the final division we've got to look at is the NFC West. In terms of consolidating, is this going to be a consolidate for you? Is this going to be a back-to-back NFC West title for the 49ers?
Again, I'd love to divert, but at the moment, I just can't see anyone getting past that 49er team. Again, it's kind of the West, the AFC West is going to be incredible. The NFC West last year was really incredible. I think it stays the same and gets even more better as the Arizona Cardinals get even more entertaining. But I just think, again, you look at kind of the retention of players. The 49ers didn't really lose anyone. Obviously, we got a certain man who's now hanging behind you. But they just have another 3 first-round picks to replace him, as well as Javon Kinlaw. So, it's just kind of a conveyor belt of D linemen there, and they managed to keep almost everyone else. So, who's going to stop them? I don't think anyone. I think, only one team would stop them last year. And it took Patrick Mahomes turning up for about 4 minutes of the Super Bowl to score 21 points. I don't think anyone else will.
Yeah, and in terms of that division, I think Seattle haven't done enough to improve enough. I don't think. They're always going to be around. Russell Wilson is always going to get 9, 10, 11 wins without a shadow of a doubt. He's just that good. He can do that himself. The Rams obviously had a bit of a down year, but they were still knocking around towards the end. Week 16, they still had a chance to just about get in. So the Rams are going to be there, and you'd imagine they're going to have some kind of resurgence this year. But it's the Cardinals, It is the Cardinals this year. It's going to be interesting to see what they can really do. Because you look at that roster now, and after a good draft, after picking up top 3 receiver, realistically, in DeAndre Hopkins, they're a real dark horse this year. Not just for the division, I think for the whole thing, the Cardinals are thereabouts. I think if anyone is going to knock the 49ers off, it is the Cardinals. And I'm kind of tempted to go with Arizona for that reason. And because I also think last year, Arizona played 49ers a couple of times. There were some close games. I think 49ers came out 30-27 winners in one of the games.
Yeah.
There were some really tight ones between them. Arizona are much better now. I think Arizona are much better than last year. I don't think the 49ers, as good as they were, are much better than last year. I think they're similar, which is no bad thing. They're still the Super Bowl team, don't get me wrong. I think the 49ers edge it, but I think the Cardinals might only be about a 1 win off, potentially. I think they're going to do a lot better than some people think.
Yeah, I like it. But you know,
All right, so that's
we just can't pick. We just can't pick past those 49ers yet. It's just
tough,
not yet.
It's tough. Not yet. Year after, yeah. Right, okay. So that's the divisions all set. So that's what's going to make it into the playoffs in our predicted 2020 season. Regular season MVP. I'll throw it open to you first. Who you got?
This is the one I've struggled the most with, to the point where I actually haven't got an answer for it yet. It's the only one I haven't got an answer for. Because, yeah, don't worry. As you can see, I'm kind of elongated out. I was really racking my brain. And kind of with everything else, obviously this is the kind of the way too early picks. And as much as we'd love to go, you know, really whack like wild out here, we go Philip Rivers, we go Daniel Jones is going to throw 50 touchdowns and throw 4 interceptions. Just but you know, probably not going to happen. So I can't look past Patrick Mahomes when he's fully fit on a bounce back year, retaining that offense with another weapon. I just can't get past it. So I tried to think of someone else to be a little bit more kind of exciting, and maybe you can clickbait the title because we're on YouTube now, you know. But
controversial. It might be that. I'm not going to take the piss because it could be that.
Yeah. So it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he's the best player in the league. I'm sorry, he's just the best player in the league. I think the only one for me, I don't know if Lamar Jackson is going to be. I think he's going to be great. I don't think he's going to hit quite that MVP level this year. He might fall just short. I would sooner go to Deshaun Watson than Lamar Jackson. I think people are going to bear in mind the fact he doesn't have Hopkins this year.
And he's got Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
That's working against him. People are going to think,
isn't it? I think Watson can be as good, if not better. He's just going to improve year on year because he's that. I mean, he's been called the Jordan of the league, like the closest we've seen to Jordan in the NFL, and you can see that. But obviously, Jordan didn't win a title for 7 years, something like that. You know what I mean? It's going to be a slow build with Watson. I think, people will bear in mind, if he has a season just as good, they're going to bear in mind the lack of number one receiver, and I think he's a solid MVP shout. But for me, Patrick Mahomes is... Aaron Rodgers, I've always said, is the best, in terms of talent, the best QB I've ever seen. I think Mahomes is, if he hasn't overtaken him already, he's right there. He's right there overtaking him. So I struggle to see past Patrick Mahomes being MVP again this year. I think the only thing that's going to stand against him in years to come is just kind of almost a little bit of bias where they don't want to give him it every year, similar to Jordan in the NBA. He wasn't MVP every year when he should have been, if we're honest. But for me, it's Mahomes. Yeah,
but unfortunately, he won his MVP throwing 50 touchdowns. Whenever he doesn't reach 50 touchdowns, he might still be by and far away the best player in the league, but they're going to point to, well, in 2018, he threw 50 touchdowns. He hasn't thrown 50 touchdowns this year, so therefore he can't be, you know, because sports writers, again, they want to be different. They don't, you know, it's boring. Michael Jordan wins every MVP for 14 years. Patrick Mahomes could potentially win the next MVP for 10 years, but hey, people want to be different.
Yeah, and for long-term listeners of the audio podcast we do on Spotify, who are now shouting at us, yes, I did say a punt for Drew Brees a few months ago. Come on. Not anymore.
Hey, he might win the Super Bowl, but his peers are not going to vote him. You know, the media and stuff are not going to.
I'm still going to be there shaking my head at that, man. Shaking my head.
Just because I like them to win the league doesn't mean I'm... Yeah.
Moving swiftly on. All right, breakout player. Now, this is obviously the only thing where putting in today's episode, which isn't kind of a tangible thing, which will actually be happening over the course of the season. It's not an actual real award, but we thought it'd be quite an interesting one to throw in just to see who we come up with. I'll kick off this one in terms of breakout player. And this is not someone who was necessarily bad last year by any stretch. Mine certainly wasn't. But I think this is just someone who's going to come on. It's almost like a most improved player, I guess. It kind of ties into what I've said before and potentially something I'm going to talk about in a few minutes' time. But I'm going to go with Kyler Murray. And I really think he could become a superstar this year, like a real superstar. In that Cardinals team, he's kind of got everything around him already. It's kind of growing and growing and growing just in his second year. And there's been multiple times where I was looking earlier at the awards in the league where obviously a QB has won the MVP awards. Patrick Mahomes, for example, has done it. And a bunch of people have. But if Patrick Mahomes wins MVP this year, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win Offensive Player of the Year. It has happened many times where a QB's won MVP but not been Offensive Player, because Drew Brees has got 2 Offensive Player of the Year awards despite never winning MVP. I think Kyler Murray is going to be Offensive Player of the Year this year, if I was going to put a bold shout out there, even if Mahomes MVP. I've just got a good feeling about them Cards this year, and I've got a very good feeling about him. You know, very first episode of the podcast we did last August, I was like, Murray's too small, he's got to prove it to me. But he did. You know what? He did. And for that reason, he's my breakout player.
Again, I love it because I love Kyler Murray. So I completely agree with you there, but he's not my pick. I did have kind of no, I did have kind of 2 picks. I'm gonna mention him, but my kind of dark horse for it is Drew Lock. I think we're gonna see again with that offense. He was good last year. He could really kind of break out, and especially in division with Patrick Mahomes. If he takes a game off Patrick Mahomes, it's looking really, really good for him. But I've gone with someone we've already mentioned, and when you said you hadn't picked him for this, I was like, because I've gone with my boy Sam Darnold. This man had obviously mono last year. When he came back from mono, he was 6-1. That Jets team was 6-1. That is not talked about enough in the NFL. Just how kind of
AFC's pick is not looking so stupid now.
No. Just how good kind of Sam Darnold was that back end of the year. Yeah. And it does kind of rely on, as I said, the offensive lineman they drafted being good, the receiver they drafted being good. I believe they got Denzel Mims at receiver, and I can't remember which lineman they drafted. It wasn't worth who I really wanted it to be, but I can't remember, and that's bad of me. But hey, this is the year where Sam, we've had steady improvement. He didn't flash first year like Baker Mayfield did, whereas Baker Mayfield's he's gone massive and then dropped again. Sam Darnold's been plodding along, getting better and better and better, and this is the year that he doesn't need to, he's not like make or break. It's not this, or they're not going to pick up his 5th-year option, but he needs to really have the year for them people to really start taking the Jets, which they've never really done, and kind of Sam Darnold seriously. So it's kind of a need and a want for me, and he's got all the talent in the world. Hopefully the weapons are there. And if, like I said, especially with the AFC East being open, if your prediction comes true and the Jets take the East, which they can do, it's going to be them and the Bills, really. If he takes the East and gets 10 wins, that's the first time the Jets have probably won the AFC East in 10 years. I think they might have... No, did they ever win it when Belichick was there, or did they just get into wild card kind of territory? They might have won it once with Sanchez. I think they won it once. I think they
won it in 2010, maybe.
Was it when Tom Brady got injured? I think they that season they won the division. Maybe Randy will be able to tell us because as the Patriots fan he is. But
I'm sure the Jets won a title. I'm sure they did.
I mean, they definitely got to an AFC Championship game because we beat them. Yeah. I think they So we beat them in 2009. I think as well. Hopefully, everything comes together, and Sam Darnold is my breakout player of the year.
So just very quickly, just to clarify, this is Sam Darnold's year, yeah? You can nod, you can...
Yes, it's Sam Darnold's year.
There's the title, thank you. Right. Perfect. Right. That's why everyone clicked, that's why everyone's watching, that's why we're getting loads of hate in the comments. Right, cool.
Harry Dennis, audacious shout. And just...
Episode 2 is never getting made. Right, it's time to pretty much bring this to a conclusion, really, this first video podcast. So before we do, what we're going to do is very quickly run down what we think is going to be the championship matchups, followed by Super Bowl and then the eventual Super Bowl winner. So I'm going to give mine very quickly. Harry's going to do his, and that'll be about it. So for me, the AFC game is I think it's going to be the dream matchup. I think we're going to get it at least once in the next couple of years. I think this is the year where it's most likely, because I think a lot of teams are going to catch up after this year, certainly to one of these teams. So I think the AFC matchup is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs, as you'd expect, against the Baltimore Ravens. I don't think the Ravens are going to maybe carry that on into 2021-22. But I think this year, while they're still not quite... I don't think teams are going to quite work them out just yet. So I think the Ravens are going to go on a run. I think they're going to make the championship game. On the NFC side, I think it's going to be the Saints against the Cardinals.
Oh, you've backed the Cardinals. I like it.
I've backed the Cardinals. I've not backed the Cardinals too far because I do think the Super Bowl is going to be the New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees' potential final year against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they'll have too much for Baltimore. And my Super Bowl 55? 55.
Yes.
Yeah. My Super Bowl 55 prediction is the Kansas City Chiefs 31, the Saints 20. Patrick Mahomes MVP.
Oh, you've gone for score as well. Jesus Christ, I haven't gone for score.
I came up with that on the fly, so don't worry about it. Go for it.
Is that already on Sky Bet? What are the odds on that already? Correct teams, correct score.
Some bet now. All right, your final four before we wrap things up.
My final four shares some similarities. It has the Kansas City Chiefs and the New Orleans Saints. Who they are facing, however, is a bit different. In the NFC, I've gone with my winners of the NFC West. I've gone with the 49ers. I think they've just got the talent to immediately kind of repeat back to that kind of title. And then with the AFC, may have gone a bit with a heart here, but I've gone for the Colts. I think, yeah.
Yes.
I think it's completely.
I hope this better end of us going all the way.
No, it doesn't. Oh. It might kind of precipice that we don't face the Ravens. If we can avoid the Ravens at some stage, there's no doubt in my mind that we're kind of the third or fourth. We can be the third or fourth best team in the AFC this year, and we can happily make that game. If we can avoid the Ravens, I think that's the kind of where this kind of linchpin's on. So I've gone for the Chiefs against the Colts. The Super Bowl matchup
your Super Bowl
is the same as you. It's the Chiefs versus the Saints. However, I have gone with Drew Brees kind of doing a Peyton Manning and riding off into the sunset by winning his second kind of Super Bowl. I haven't got a score for you, but with those two, it's going to be a shootout, which is going to be great for us. It's going to be echo back to like Super Bowl 52. With Drew Brees, kind of a weird sense of him lifting the Lombardi at the end of the year. But like I said, his response, his retort to Trump was very good. His kind of apology was lackluster, but that's, when he bats back the man he's politically backed for many, many years, that's when you kind of think, he is listening and he's prepared to kind of change his own views. So,
yeah, from a football standpoint, I think we'd all like to see it. I think we would all like to see it. From a pure football standpoint, we would.
Yes. Because he's one of the forgotten men, because he lived in the Brady and Manning era, and unfortunately the tail end of Brady and Manning, he's now run into Mahomes. Yeah. So he's never talked about as kind of Yeah, he's the bridesmaid, isn't he? He's going to go down as the bridesmaid unless he wins another one. Yeah, it was Brady and Manning. It was never Brady or Breeze or Manning. No. It was always Brady or Manning.
Right then. So that's our 2020 season predictions. So far too early ones, all wrapped up. We hope you've enjoyed. I'm sure you agree with some of the stuff we've said. I'm sure you disagree with a lot of stuff we've said. So please let us know in the comments below. We'll reply to as many as we can. I'm sure there's not going to be that many, so I'm sure it'll be fine. Please,
we'll engage with our audience in the comments.
Yeah,
that'd be good fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. Hopefully we get some people to do this. I hope you've enjoyed it anyway, and smash the like button. Please. If you haven't already, you should have already. It's been great content.
Yeah.
Smash the like button. Please subscribe though. Hit the notification bell, because we are going to do more of these. We're hoping to do weekly, if not fortnightly for now. But as we get into the actual season proper, as we get towards August, probably for the pre-season, if there is a pre-season, who knows this year, we will do more regular content, weekly content, and also we'll do kind of what you want. These are bonus eps, and we're happy to do challenges. We're happy to talk over the big talking points, and do stuff like this. We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was kind of a big thing for me. With this, ultimately, we are just two guys talking to each other, but it is you guys that are listening to us. You are consuming the content we produce. So if there's
I'm
anything,
watching.
yeah,
I'm
I'm watching. So if there is anything that you want us to discuss, if there any kind of formats you want, if I know some of you love when Ross says top 5. If you want kind of YouTube style top 5, top 10 lists about random things, we can do that. If you want more kind of debates where we kind of proper take a positive and negative side, I mean, well, we won't do it for the sake of it. If I believe something and Ross believes the opposite, we'll go skip and challenge against each other. We can do it now with this box format. Whatever you got, this is a show.
Who's who?
Yeah. Oh, I love them both, so I wouldn't really want to choose because I love both of them for different reasons.
I just want to be the English Stephen A. To be honest.
Yeah,
I'll do me.
All right, if we'll go old first take. You could be Stephen A. and I'll be Skip Bayless from first take.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a show for you. This is content for you.
Absolutely.
Tell us what you want to see, and tell us we've got awful takes. Because again, we'll talk to you about it.
Comments below there for all this, and if you found this on Twitter, found a link off Twitter, please give that link a retweet, share it far and wide. Like I said, this has been a trial run. We hope it's gone well. You might never have seen this. Who knows? But we hope it's gone well, and we'll see you again. Thank you very much for watching.
Stay safe.